I think it's a difficult world now, and I think there's so much of, we call it in Tibetan, naming, there's distraction, so much distraction, and life becomes very busy and somehow unpleasant. That's very sad, I think, very sad. Just, being on the phone and, so many of those apps, so many of those social media, and you are so busy, and mind becomes so busy, I think. And when the mind is busy, mind is tired. And when the mind is tired, then anger arises, attachment arises. And we just accumulate so much of this such called negative karma. Essence of Buddhist teaching is to train your mind to overcome from the negative consciousness, or in other words, overcome delusion, overcome anger, or in order to overcome attachment, ignorance. But it's easy to say, but in practical level, it's very difficult, right? We all know it. We have taken countless lifetimes, and the imprint is so strong there that it almost feels like the anger is nature of our mind, right? Somehow. And when there's small incident which dissatisfies you, then you get anger. When there's a small incident which is so attractive, then how should I say, the attachment arises. So which keeps our mind very busy and very tiring. So we really need to learn how to work with the mind. And that process of training the mind is very clearly mentioned in the teachings. So that's why we have to study the teachings. Of course, we need to make a living. We need to work hard. We need the resource to live. That's important. But at the same time, we all want a happy life. And in order to live a happy life, only through the external resources cannot make you have maximum happiness, right? So it's important that we must engage ourselves into practicing to live a spiritual life. And that can only be through Dharma, I think. So it's important that we spend some amount of our time, engage some amount of our time into Dharma. Study, meditate, but before meditate, we have to know how to meditate, right? So we need to study. And I say, within the 24 hours we have, you can spend maybe say 22 hours sleeping, working, doing your other things, but spend at least 1 hour or 2 hours into Dharma, studying, meditating, right? And meditating is not easy, for beginner. Even 5 minutes meditation is difficult to focus, right? What do you focus, right? How to focus, on what subject? So that we need to study. Or analyzing. Think about the teachings. Try to understand teachings. That is already a meditation. Then after you reach some level of study, then you can go to like mindfulness, shamatha, and which can relax your mind. and sharpen your intelligence. So I think we really need to learn how to focus, because when we can focus our mind, then our mind is relaxed. And when our mind is relaxed, then we are happy. So we must engage ourselves into relaxing, concentrating, and engage into some meditation. At least, as I said, few minutes, then maybe 5 minutes after 1 week. That would be very helpful. Focus on the breath is very good, because our mind is very dependent on our body. So in order to relax the mind and body, we start with breathing meditation in the morning, at least 21 times. Inhale, exhale. Inhale from the left, exhale from the right. Inhale from the right, exhale from the left. 21 times. Sit still with the morning, good, as soon as you get up. And just make yourself relax. And then concentrate, even on any subject, even on the glass in front of you, right? Or any object. Make yourself concentrate. And, just bring yourself in. I think this is very helpful.